And why do you feel that focusing on cash flow leads to the biggest feeling of freedom for the people that you work with, like our listeners, our clinic owners?
It's a great question. And the simple answer is it's the lifeblood of a business. And the more complicated answer is the business owner gets frustrated with the accountant because the accountant is saying you made a profit this year. And then you as the business owner are looking down at your bank account balance saying, but where's the money? If the accountant cannot explain in 2 sentences in 15 seconds, when you make a payment on that debt, yeah, not all of it shows up on the profit and loss. And if they just said that, that would explain 90% of the problem. But they don't. And it's the reason why is that you're both speaking the language of money, but you're speaking different dialects. That your accountant is speaking the dialect of the IRS and the tax code and trying to minimize what you have to pay to the government. But then you're living in the real world and you can't pay people with seashells and with love. You got to pay them with the cash that flows through your business. And so I'm sitting
seashells and love. That is something that I was like, but why can't we? Right? That wouldn't that be so much better? Right. Seashells and love. I'm going to remember that one, Howard. But yeah, I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. So I'm sitting here as an interpreter between what your accountant is saying and what your bank account is saying so that everything matches.
So, but when you do that, from the realistic standpoint, you're just like, but I pay my bills and you're saying I made money, but it feels like I didn't have anything left over at the end of the day. It wasn't like there's this lump of extra cash there for me to do things. And I don't feel like I'm being reckless and, I'm not like wasting it on gambling or drinking or whatever. But you're saying, well, but when you become more financially led and you start thinking about things differently and where the money goes, then it changes your mindset. Just to let you know, I've talked to Howard before and he was like, I bet you could be debt free in 8 years. And he asked me all these personal questions, like what's your debt? What's your car payment? What's your thing like this? And I told him, and he's not allowed to tell you guys on here, but at the end, he gave me a really great tip because I have a line of credit. And he was like, well, what you need to do is just change your thinking on that and how you pay your line of credit and what you're actually using for that. So there's all these little tricks that people can do to be debt free. It's just they kind of don't know about it.